Hello there YouTube, Michael Bowers here. Since I've not done any reviews all day, I'm going to be doing one final one before I pack it in for tonight. And this review is going to be on the new Terminator movie, Terminator Salvation. Now before I tell you the plot of the movie, what I'd like to say is that I've only really seen the first one before I saw this one originally. I've not had a chance to watch 2 and 3 yet, but I'll probably get to do that at some point in the next few weeks maybe. But I think that because a lot of people thought I was going to be pretty confused by the plot of this movie. And although I haven't seen 2 and 3, I actually followed it. I actually did follow it quite well. And even though I've only seen the first one has made references to this one. So it is kind of, if you've just watched the first one, you could figure out, when you've seen the first one and this one, you can see for yourself what the plot is, or I did when I saw it anyway. So the plot. After the human race was almost wiped out, and apocalyptic 2018, John Connor, who's portrayed by Christian Bale, is in the leader of the Resistance, who are the group of survivors, and they try to fight against Skynet and their army of Terminators. However, as the film progresses, John Connor discovers that there could be a new plan to build a new Terminator whom could wipe out the rest of the Resistance, and then machines would rule mankind. And upon there, and then there's someone called Marcus, who is portrayed by Sam Worthington, and of course they have to band together to try and stop this evil army of Terminators from building this ultimate robot. So that's the basic plot of the film. Now I have to say that like I said, I wasn't confused going into this because I watched it, and although at first maybe, it was a bit confusing, it was still pretty decent. I still enjoyed the plot. Anyway, let's get into the acting. Christian Bale, I've not seen, again, prior to seeing this, well obviously I've seen Public Enemies, but before Public Enemies, this was the only film I'd seen him in that wasn't the Batman movies. I have to say he was pretty good as John Connor. A lot of people have told me that his portrayal was a bit more menacing and everything, and it was quite menacing actually. His portrayal of John Connor was pretty violent throughout the movie, what you could say anyway. And of course, it's a bit more in depth of his character. But overall, I still enjoyed Christian Bale's performance as John Connor. Sorry. Sam Worthington does a good job as Marcus. He was really, I was impressed by his performance. Of course, I didn't quite understand half the time why he was there. But, he's needed for the very end. I'm not a spoiler, people. What else was there? Bryce Dallas Howard replaces Claire Danes as Kate Connor, John Connor's wife. Now again, I've not seen Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines, so I can't compare the two actresses until I've seen that movie. But I did enjoy Bryce Dallas Howard's performance. She was at least believable as the role of Kate Connor. But she was more like a step back, and she was pretty much more of a side role, rather than a central character. But she was in it enough to make me like her character a bit, and she was developed as this kind of caring, but also trying to fix problems type of person. So obviously that's acting-wise pretty much out the way. So the film in general, what did I think of it? I thought of it as a decent movie. No, I thought of it as a good movie. I think I enjoyed Terminator Salvation, despite quite a few flaws. I'm going to tell you what I did like about it first. Now, the action in this movie is incredible. It really is. The action in this movie can elevate it to a certain level. Not quite like Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, but that's my next review. Anyway, I'll tell you that later, next time. But the action in this movie is pretty incredible. It had me hooked into it from beginning to end in my seat when I was sitting in the cinema watching this, and I was watching it with college as part of a treat. And also, I think the story was pretty well developed. Maybe more in the second half than the first half. But the action, like I said, goes in favour of the story, and it does therefore make it an enjoyable part of the film to watch. I don't know if you could say weaponry used in this movie was pretty good as well. Cool weapons basically. The ending was pretty good. It does however sort of set up for Terminator 5. It's not a cliffhanger. I'm going to tell you this. It isn't a cliffhanger, but it's not like a completion of the story. Let's put it that way. So those were things I kind of did like about it, other than the performances and the acting. Oh, and another thing I liked about it, the script was was decently written. Maybe it could have been a bit better, but it was decent for this movie. It was passable and enjoyable. So anyway, now there were a couple of things that I was a bit hesitant and I didn't like about it. One of them was that certain aspects of the first half was kind of basically. It's the first time I've done that in a video actually. I think that some aspects of the first half could have been improved. Some bits of the first half felt like they were kind of dragging on a little bit, and there were some bits that were a bit unnecessary. There was one scene with Kyle Reese, who was in the first movie with Kate Connor. Yeah, with Kate Connor. And I think it was. Anyway, no, I'm dragging a bit here, sorry. Basically, Kyle Reese was in the first movie, and he's in this one, but obviously, if you see the first movie in this one, you understand enough about Kyle Reese's character to know where the story comes, about the story to know where his character comes from in the movie. So of course, also it's a bit tricky to follow at some points of why he was there and what on earth he was doing. It was, however, I think it kind of dragged a little bit, particularly the scenes with him and Marcus. I think half of those scenes didn't need to be there. It was a bit silly, I would think, in certain places. I didn't hate the scenes, I just think they could have maybe made them a bit more interesting to follow. Also, another part that I didn't really like about it was that the dialogue. This is the first time I've actually mentioned the dialogue in the review, but I'm going to mention it now. The dialogue in this movie kind of felt. I was discussing this with one of the people after I'd seen the movie, and we felt that there was a couple of cheesy lines in it. Although it does make references to what Arnold Schwarzenegger's line is, "I'll be back." Sorry, that was a bad impersonation. But Christian Bale's character, John Connor, does say at one point, "I'll be back." He doesn't say it in a way that is cheesy, but the way that, in the situation that's used, that's all he says. It is, I can see why it was used, and it was a good homage, but at the same time it did feel a little bit cheesy. But that's, again, really the minor issue that was in, it didn't really bring down my enjoyment of the movie, but it didn't bring it up either, obviously. One other thing I forgot to mention that I did like about it was the camera angles. Again, it didn't make you think you were there, but it was believable. The camera angles made the action believable, particularly in the climax, the final battle between John Connor and one of the Terminators. It was good. The camera work made the action more enjoyable to watch. Now, one thing I should have mentioned earlier that I'm going to say now is Arnold Schwarzenegger. He does make a cameo appearance in this movie. It's the fight with him and John Connor. He however only appears for a couple of minutes. Now a lot of people can ask me, was it worth seeing it just for him? Well, it's hard to say considering I actually enjoyed the movie, but it was just for him. Not really. It wouldn't be worth seeing just for a couple of minute cameo. But it is a bonus for the movie. It is a real added bonus to see him. He's now in all 4 Terminator movies, although this one's just a cameo, but it is nice to see him. It is nice to see him back. It is a good, but obviously now, and again one of my friends was telling me this, and I agree with him completely, that they don't need Arnold Schwarzenegger anymore, because they can carry a story now. Oh, I feel that they can carry a story on without it. So that, again, was my minor opinion. Well, overall opinion of the movie. I think it's a very good movie. It's easily 3.5 stars out of 5 for me. And of course, it's a good setup for Terminator 5, despite it not being a cliffhanger. So this was kind of a hard review to do because, again, I've not seen Terminator 2 and 3, but I felt I just wanted to do it. I was bored. But I'm pretty confident I'll enjoy Terminator 2 and 3. But so far, Terminator Salvation I think was better than the first one, and it so far is my favourite of the movies. And MCG, good job, man. You did a good job on Terminator Salvation, I thought. So, 3.5 stars. I think this is probably maybe the 7th, 2009 or 8th. It's not my favourite, it's not my top 5, but it's definitely my top 10 so far. Could be kicked out later, but we don't know. So anyway, 3 out of 5, Terminator Salvation. Michael Bowers, signing out. Till next time.